Hi, I'm Mike McCormick, live at the GBTA studio, and with me today is Susan Eisenhower, our moderator for the arena session with the General today. Thank you, Susan. Thank you for being here.
Well, Michael, thank you for the pleasure. It's great.
Well, I have to start with the obvious question. Given a last name like Eisenhower, you're obviously part of a very famous political family. Did you intentionally get into the family business by doing what you do today?
Well, I don't know. It seems like the family business is pretty large because not only was my grandfather a political figure, he was a military figure as well.
That's right.
But you know, I grew up in an atmosphere where it was everywhere, and it wasn't hard to become intrigued by international affairs and international business and politics.
Well, clearly you must have inherited the mind for it, given what you do today.
Well, thank you.
Well, so drawing off your current role and looking at the world today, I mean, we were just talking for a few minutes and saying these are truly unprecedented times. I mean, how do you look at that? Is this just another chapter, or is this really that dramatically different than maybe what we've seen over the years in different cycles?
Well, one reason I love to read history is that there's something reassuring about it.
Right.
We've gone through big periods of international chaos, domestic strife, deeply divided country, and I think that of course we're going to get through this, but the thing that makes it particularly challenging is social media. We didn't have an internet before, and we didn't have the immediacy of the communications, and I think that's what really changes a lot of what's going on today.
Yeah, so you're going to interview General Petraeus today. A little bit, how did you prepare for that? I mean, is it, and what do you want to get out of today's interview with him?
Well, I think we're in a real position to hear from somebody who's a great thinker on these issues to give us a sense of priority. If you were to pick up the paper in the morning, you'd think that the world is coming apart everywhere.
Right.
But I think we need to have some kind of perspective on where we should be concentrating our greatest attention. Or as the military would say, where's the long pole in the tent?
I haven't heard that one before.
Yeah, it's good. It's very good.
So tell me a little bit about what you're doing today. What is your, not just moderating here, you're doing that certainly because we asked you as part of coming here with GBTA, but tell me about the rest, what you do in your role today.
Well, first of all, let me just say how pleased I am to be here at GBTA because I am a global traveler.
Ah, right.
And having spent 30 years of part of my career traveling intensively, both to far reaches of Europe and Asia, but also all over the country. And my specialty was in Soviet-U.S.-Russian relations.
Right.
And about 12 years ago, I made a segue into energy policy, which from a global perspective is absolutely fascinating, and it's even interesting from a domestic point of view too.
Right, good. And well, again, with the issues today of risk, terrorism, duty of care, any advice or thoughts for our audience, our membership about what should they focus on and what should they be thinking about as it relates to those topics?
This is going to sound like a strange thing to say, but I'm not sure any traveler gets better by being scared to death all the time. Right. I lived in Great Britain in the 1970s, and there were IRA bombings on every street corner, and there were any number of planes hijacked to the Middle East. And the British have a tremendous spirit, and they don't let anything get them down. And I really became very interested in how to help people think positively about the experiences they're about to go into. I think we have too much negative news in the paper in the sense that everything feels like it's out of our control when actually we control a lot more than we think we do.
Yeah, I mean, playing off of that, we recently did a survey of global business travelers, and we asked them about their biggest concerns when traveling. And 45% of them put terrorism first. The second issue for them was 13% at street crime and right. things. And you look at, and then it goes from there, and even further below that, health and illness issues went on the road. And you think about that, in complete contrast to the realities of what might actually happen. But to your point about kind of the mentality of the fear that travelers have, given all of the pervasive news that, about that we hear every day, it's a struggle, right?
I'm personally more frightened about other people's panic than I am about finding myself in that kind of situation.
Right.
So I would really like to see everybody, people in authority, talk more constructively about the dangers and what you can do to protect yourself. Half the places I travel, actually at the end of the day, are probably safer than certain parts of the big city I live in.
Right.
That's the irony.
Right.
But you certainly wouldn't know that from reading the paper.
No. Well, thank you again for coming. Thank you for agreeing to moderate. We're looking forward to a really terrific session and a great conversation between you and the General. And
Great.
again, Susan Eisenhower, and I'm Mike McCormick here live from GBTA Studio.